This psalm talks about us being victorious in battle, and the commentaries explain that the battle that this psalm is talking about is referring to the battle of Gog and Magog, which is going to be right before Mashiach is going to come. The kapitel starts off by describing the greatness of Jerusalem and Zion, and then goes into detail about how God is going to help us win the war of Gog and Magog, and starts enumerating different ways that God is going to help us win the war. And finishes off by saying that at the end of the day, our enemies are going to have to admit that God has won the war, and it calls upon us to thank Hashem and to fulfill our vows. And it finishes off the kapitel by saying that the pride of these princes are going to be humbled. Lam Netzeach for the conductor, Menegines for the music, Mizmer Asaf shiur. This is a song by Asaf. Noida b'Yehuda Elikim. God is recognized in Judea. B'Yisrael, God Shmai, and in Israel, his name is great. Vahi v'Shalim Sukkoi, and his tabernacle was in Shalim, which is a name for Jerusalem, before it got the name Yerushalayim. Umanasai v'Tzion, and his dwelling place is in Zion, which means that out of the whole earth, God has designated a specific place to rest his holiness. Shama Shibarish Vekashes, over there in Jerusalem, he broke the flying bows, and the commentaries explain this refers to when the Assyrian army was besieging Jerusalem, and they were saved from that army. Magin v'cherev Muhammad, there was shield, sword, and battle, which means to say, just like by Assyria in the times of Chizkiyahu, they defeated the shield, the sword, in the battle, so too in the time of Mashiach, the same thing is going to happen. Noirata, you Hashem are enlightened, Adir Mahari Teref, you are more powerful than the mountains of prey, which refers to the enemies of Israel, and we say that Hashem is even more powerful. Ashtelu Abir Lev, they lost their reason, the enemies who are strong of heart. Namu Shnasam, they slept their sleep. That means they weren't able to fight properly. And all the people who are men of war did not find their hands, they were unable to fight properly. Migaroscha Elekeyake, from the rebuke of the God of Jacob, Nirdam V'rechem Asus, he's going to be put to sleep along with the chariots and the horses. Ata Neira, you are awesome. Neirata, you are awesome. And who could stand before you from your wrath? From heavens you made judgment. Eretz Yara v'Shakota, and the earth feared, but then it grew quiet, it grew calm, which is referring to the time of Sancherim, that the army of Assyria was going to attack the Jewish people. But then, when God made judgment, the invasion fell through, and Sancherim ultimately had a tremendous downfall. Bekumna Mishpat Elikim, and God rises up in judgment, like the case of Sancherim, as we said. L'shir kol am v'yaretz sela, to save all the humble people of the earth, which is referring to Chizkiyahu and his people, who the king Chizkiyahu was considered to be very humble. Ki chamas adam tedeka, for the people that caused you wrath, the enemies of Israel, are ultimately going to admit that you are greater than them. Shedes chemes tachger, the rest of your wrath you're going to gird, and you're going to pour it out against all of the enemies of Israel and all the wicked people. Now we call upon all the people, Nidru v'shamul Hashem. You should keep your vows, pay your vows to God. Lekechem kol svivav, everyone who surrounds you, which means that not only the Jewish people, but all the nations that are around Israel are all going to pay tribute. Yavila Shalamera, they're all going to bring presents to the Awesome One, which refers to Hashem. Which means that and then that day, in the time of Mashiach, all the nations are going to recognize the greatness of Hashem, and they're going to express that by bringing gifts to the Beis Hamikdash. Yivtzeh Ruach Megidim, he's going to cut down the spirit of the nobles. Neirel Malchei Haaretz, and he's going to be awesome to the kings of the earth. That means all the pride that the kings of the earth have is all going to melt when they're going to realize God's greatness.